Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's Token back with a brand new video for you all. Today, I thought I'd finally get up my Season 2 draft analysis for the IBL, aka Indigo Battle League, and go over the team that we were able to draft. I really do like going, it honestly helps me get a little bit more insight on exactly how I feel about and how I want to go about using my team going into the season when I actually do a draft analysis. So draft analysis are something that I enjoy doing, and I will always try to I will always try to do for leagues when I do get the opportunity. You guys might not know, but I did recently join the Indigo Battle League. I filled out their application that they had on Twitter, and they were looking for a few more coaches. Not a league that was looking for a whole new roster, which is something I was more interested in, even though the once again, NPL was it was awesome. It was a fun ride, and we were able to win it. But I'd rather be in a league that's not looking for like a whole roster, like the NPL Division Two was a league that's already been doing their thing, and they just wanted a few new coaches, and that's what we have here, and that's what happened. I was able to get into the league, and I'm excited for this season. Yes, we are still rocking out as the Salazzin Salazzles. I want to win this logo like maybe championships, and then and then I likely will retire it and move on to something different. But I love this logo, and screw anyone hating on alliteration names. However, back to the point. IBL, very awesome ran league, like very well ran with a bunch of really good people involved and so many good coaches. I can't wait to get the season started. To go in a little depth about some of the rules and the draft and everything. Draft is like any normal draft. It was a point system, and we were given 1,000 points in total. You had 500 points for your free picks and 500 points for your tier picks. Or no, for your tier picks, it was pretty much you had to get a tier A, tier B, two tier C's, one tier D, and one tier E, and then you had 500 points for your free picks. So that is how it went down. And I unfortunately overslept and the day of the draft, so I missed my first three picks. But thank God to Celestial. I think I said that right. Sorry if I butchered your name, man. But thank God to him. He drafted me some power with those first few picks, and there was a lot of Pokemon that I really wanted to eventually use. So thank you for doing that for me. And once again, sorry about me being late. I was really tired that day. Anyways, some of the rules that are interesting, all the rules are pretty much normal rules, but we had two rules that I will cover that were pretty interesting. One was the way bans work, and with bans, we decided that every single coach could announce one ban, and that would ban the Pokemon, but it wouldn't completely ban it. It would ban it to the point where it couldn't be used unless under the special circumstance of you being willing to pay an extra 100 on top of the 180 that a tier A already costs. So 280 for these Pokemon that we banned. I wasn't the biggest fan of this rule. I thought it was kind of pointless for us to ban stuff just for it to still be unbanned. It would have made more sense to me we if some of the Pokemon that were even up to be banned were already banned, like Hooper U, that shouldn't have even been in there, and Tapu Lele in my opinion. Those two, I didn't really care about any of the rest of the bans that people kind of went for. Like things like Mew got banned. Like Mew's kind of annoying with Z moves, but other than that, Mew's not something that needs to be banned from a league. So yeah, so I wasn't the biggest fan of this rule because it caused it to where there was a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have been banned, and they were banned, and then it caused still the fact that those Pokemon could still get drafted, and the fact that Tapu Lele and Hoopa U could still get drafted because I was the one who was like, Hoopa U, I do not want to see you. I do not want to face you at all. And guess what? Hoopa U's the only Pokemon that got unbanned. This evil person named Nick, Reckless Bet, decided that he wanted to still draft Hoopa U for those 280 points. So he sacrificed that large amount of points to draft Hoopa U. I hate you for doing that, Nick, just so you know. And he was still able to get a good draft. So it kind of defeated the purpose. His draft was still good, a lot more solid than a lot of other people's in my opinion. So the ban thing didn't really work, in my opinion, the way that they thought it might work, because it really wasn't a big enough sacrifice, in my opinion. And Hoopa U and Tapu Lele should have just not been in there from the first start. That should have been that should have been like Mega Lucario and stuff like that. Even though I don't even think we have the Mega Lucario, Mega Stone yet. Either way, should have been Pokemon. It should have been in the list of those Pokemon that we're not even thinking about allowing into the league. However, we will have to face Hoopa U, so twice this season, so RIP me, especially because this second one, this one bothers me more than the banning, and the banning didn't really bother me that much. But this really bothered me, and it's the fact that for some reason, and I got no clarity on whoever's idea this was and why they thought it was a good idea, for some reason you can't have duplicate items in this league, so there's no double choice scarf and stuff like that. So that makes Hoopa U, Pokemon like Kiram, it makes some of those really threatening offensive Pokemon so much worse to deal with because of the fact that you can't run duplicate items. So, and then I feel like that just kind of screws over defensive teams too, because that means no duplicate. You can't have leftovers on 2 Pokemon, so that really sucks as well. So yeah, I really dislike this role, but I'm not the wrong one in this league. It still should be a fun, very fun season. I can't wait to get started. And I guess it does force people to play a little differently than they normally would, but I'm not a fan of that second rule at all. There's no sense in league format and not allowing duplicate items. I can't understand it. I wish I would have got some clarity on what the inside of the person who thought that was a good rule, why they came up with that, but no clarity was given to me, sadly. Anyways, though, enough about me. Enough about my problems with the league. Everything else was absolutely peachy and was was awesome. And just once again, shout out to everyone involved in making this such an awesome league. We even got awesome generators and people, just so many reliable, friendly, awesome people in this league. So I still can't wait to get started. Just one really bad rule. Anyways, alright, so going into the draft, so obviously like I said, I fell asleep, so I didn't do my first 3 picks. So thankfully Celestial came through for those first 3 picks, and he got some power from me, some Pokemon I really want to use. Can't wait to use a lot of these Pokemon, just my entire team. I can see me actually using my entire team. That's not something I can say usually about some of my drafts. So I'm very excited about that, considering that we got some power even in the later rounds. So let's just hop right into the team. I'm just going to be throwing them into Showdown, and then we'll kind of go through what they can offer to us and everything. So first and foremost, onto the team, we have Heatran. We're going to be nicknaming Heatran this season. His name is going to be Crockpot. And I might not announce all my nicknames like right off the bat, because I've actually already done my team building for week 1, and I just know a few Pokemon's nicknames, so I might not have everyone's nickname, but just so you guys know, Heatran is going to be Crockpot this season. Anyways, with Heatran, really awesome that he drafted Heatran for me. Heatran's a Pokemon I've wanted to use for a while now. I just never really saw myself snagging it for some reason, because I just have a love for so many still types. Heatran just was never really the one that I'd really be keeping my eye on, especially when there's the Escadrilles and other stuff like that in this world. So I never really saw myself taking Heatran, but I'm so glad that someone else took it for me, so that I actually get to use this and get to use its versatility. Heatran is so versatile. Obviously, Heatran has a bunch of items it can use well. Leftovers mainly. Leftovers is a really good item for him, but Choice Specs isn't bad. Choice Scarf isn't bad. Assault Vest isn't terrible if you really need to tank some special hits. Life Orb to make Heatran more threatening. Expert Belt if you maybe want to. Heatran can take advantage of a lot of different items. Definitely Shucka Berry, just Air Balloon, lots of different items Heatran can use to his disposal. So moving on from items, obviously Flash Fire is an absolutely amazing ability. As Flash Fire, this Pokemon's fire type's attacks do 1.5 damage if it is hit by a fire type move. So obviously I hope that I face some Choice Scarf Darmanitans. I for some reason could not pronounce that for a sec. I hope I face some Choice Scarf Darmanitans and some Choice Scarf Imbors, so they can go for Flare Blitz right into my Heatran, and I can get that boost, and they're gonna have to switch out or stay in and still get hit very hard by these extremely powerful fire type moves that Heatran gets. Lava Plume obviously does has a 30% chance to burn as well, so that is beautiful. But then we also got the Magma Storm, which I can't wait to use, because Magma Storm does 100% power. It is 75% accuracy, so that's an issue, but still 100 power, and it traps and damages the target for 4 to 5 turns, so that is absolutely beautiful. Lots of trapping going to happen with Heatran, so that's great. Heatran also gets moves like, look at this move pool: Dark Pulse, Ancient Power, Earth Power. Earth Power is so beautiful. I love when I actually have Earth Power on Pokemon. It's just such great coverage, considering that you usually only have Earthquake, and a lot of Pokemon can take out the Earthquake, switch into a better Earth Power. Is just so nice. So nice when you have a Pokemon that has that Dragon Pulse. Freaking, Eruption, if I wanted to go for maybe a choice scarf Eruption Heatran, or just use Eruption in general, maybe double up on fire type moves. Flash Cannon, obviously, for a powerful skill type stab move. Then we also have Hidden Power Ice is obviously nice. Everything gets it, but that's really nice for Heatran, as ground types do like switching into Heatran. So Hidden Power Ice is nice. Overheat, if we did feel like we just needed a lot of power. We need to hit something extremely hard. Don't know how much I'll use Overheat, because I feel like we have other very powerful fire type moves that don't lower up our special attack ×2. Anyways, we did also have Stealth Rocks, obviously, so that's nice. We're gonna, as you're gonna see, we have a lot of Stealth Rocks users, which is really cool. So it makes all of our Stealth Rocks users more versatile, and the fact that I don't have to slap it on one Pokemon every week, and that I have so many options for it. Then obviously Taunt and Will-O-Wisp, so it makes it even harder to switch in, fearing like a Will-O-Wisp maybe coming off of Heatran. And then we get into those ladder moves. I don't think there's too much that's worth mentioning in these last final moves. Huge one to mention is Solar Beam, because this season I almost forgot to mention. This season our Z Captain will be Heatran. Heatran will be our Z Captain. That's mainly because of this. I do not care if people see this. They will have to realize that this is a possibility every single game, and the fact that bulky water types love switching into Heatran. And what will I do to those bulky water types? I will pack on Solar Beam, pack Solar Beam right onto Heatran, and the Gracium Z, and I will make your bulky water type not a switching into Heatran, and you're just going to have to fear that Gracium Z coming out every single time that you try to switch your bulky water type into Heatran. So that's going to cause a lot more mind games. That's going to make Heatran that much more threatening. So I thought Heatran would be an amazing Z Captain, and as I will explain in our next pick, I just didn't want to make this next pick our Z Captain, because I felt like it's so versatile that would actually hurt it. Because in the MPL, making Landorus my Z Captain I felt was a mistake. It did help in the one game I did bring it, but Landorus was just so versatile that it did not need a Z Stone, because it kind of hindered its ability to be versatile, and then I felt bad because I was never using its Z Stone. So, but in that league we only had one Z Captain. So, and same with this league, but so that's why this time I was like, let me get one that I know I'll use the Z move on, and that's what we got in Heatran. Can't wait to use it. Gives us a fire and steel type right off the bat, so that's crazy nice typings to get right in the middle of your first pick. Start on your Fire Rat or Grass Core and your Dragon Fairy Steel Core right off the bat, and Heatran's just going to be an amazing Pokemon to finally get to use, and I can't wait to get started on it. Obviously, Heatran has some amazing stats with that 130 special attack, the 106 special defense, the 91 HP, which is very serviceable. Even its attack isn't laughable, so expect maybe I might run something physical on Heatran. Expected maybe 106 defense. Heatran's just a monster. The only thing holding it back is that speed, but I like the speed because it allows it to still outspeed a lot of bulkier walls and stuff, but then it makes it so that Heatran isn't like, because obviously if Heatran was faster, then it would suffer in some other stats. So I don't think the speed at all is a big deal. Heatran is still a monster. So moving on to our next pick, we go into our free pick, because Heatran was our tier A, so now we go into our free pick, and our free pick was Garchomp. Let's go. We were able to get Garchomp, and obviously Sandvale, probably won't use this much because I don't have Sand on my team. I'll let you guys know that now. However, though, if someone's bringing Sand against me, they might need to expect this. However, though, Garchomp, obviously Rough Skin is really nice, especially if you run Rocky Helmet, Rough Skin Garchomp, defensive Garchomp, so that's always something that's really nice. Then we have a plethora of items that are good on Garchomp, and Choice Band, Choice Scar, Focus Sash if you really think its ice weakness will be exploited. Leftovers if you're running that bulkier, if you're trying to just stick around with your Garchomp. Life Orb if you want to hit extremely hard. Lumber if you think that your opponent's really going to try to Scald Burn or Will-O-Wisp Garchomp. Obviously Rocky Helmet like I mentioned. Citrus Berry, well no, not Citrus, that's not a good item on, not a good item. But yeah, lots of good items to be ran on Garchomp. And where's that Salic Berry? I think that's the last one. It's like really good on Garchomp, because you can do some extreme sleeping if Salic Berry raises holder speed by one stage when at 1/4 HP of max HP or less. And with substitute Garchomp, you can do some extreme sweeping on your opponent with that, especially since Garchomp does get Swords Dance. But yeah, lots of items to Garchomp's disposal. Then we could come over to the moves, and oh my god, look at these moves. We got Crunch, we have Dragon Claw, we have Earthquake, obviously. We have Farfang, Far Blast, because Garchomp doesn't have a laughable special attack stat, just like Heatran on the physical side. Hone Claws, if you felt the need to even run that, wanted to be a little bit more accurate, but I don't see any moves really other than maybe Stone Edge missing from Garchomp. So if I really want Hone Claws, just go for Swords Dance. Iron Head, though, to hit those fairy types that want to switch into Garchomp, so that's really beautiful in my opinion. That's really, really beautiful that Garchomp gets that coverage. And it gets the Poison Jab coverage, so even for the ones that do resist or are neutral to, not resist, the fairies that are neutral on Iron Head, we can hit them with a Poison Jab. So we got both the coverages we need for fairy types, which is amazing to have on a dragon type. Then we got Stealth Rocks, obviously, on Garchomp. So we got 2 Stealth Rockers in our first pick. So 2 versatile Pokemon with very, very nice dual typings. As Heatran with Fire Stone, Garchomp's Dragon Ground. So nice to get both of those 2 typings out of the way in our second pick. And then continuing down the moveset, Stone Edge, Surf, Substitute, Swords Dance, like we mentioned. And oh my god, just so many moves. Dragon Rush. What else do we got here? Not too much else I feel myself using in this ladder in, but yeah, lots of good moves. Lots of good moves. Garchomp is, I've seen Garchomp used so well. It's one of the best, if not the best Pokemon with a 4x weakness that is usually allowed in leagues. So Roar as well. Almost forgot to mention Roar. Roar is extremely nice as well. So I can't wait to start using Garchomp. It just has so many moves to its disposal, and it has enormously monstrous stats. And that 108 HP, the 130 attack stat, then just solid defenses and a decent special attack stat, and then now 102 speed, getting over that 100 speed tier, which is so nice. So I can't wait to use Garchomp. It's going to work well with Heatran, considering the fact that Garchomp is weak to, it's very weak to ice. Heatran can switch in on those ice types any day of the week for Garchomp, and Heatran is very weak to, well, Garchomp is weak to fairies as well, and Heatran doesn't mind a fairy any day of the week. So that's another thing Heatran can do. I think Heatran does a better job of supporting Garchomp than Garchomp does of supporting Heatran, but our next pick will help support Heatran a little bit better than Garchomp does. But Garchomp does resist. I'm trying to think of what move for Heatran that Garchomp resists. I feel like there's one that I'm not thinking of. But Garchomp isn't the best fighting type switch in, and it's definitely not the best ground either. Those are 2 things that Heatran's really weak to, and they both really don't like water types much, considering water types have the ice type moves for Garchomp, and they can just burn with Scald. So neither of them like that much, but our next pick will definitely deal with those water types for us. And but yeah, that's pretty much Garchomp. Can't wait to use it. It's a Pokemon I've never been able to draft, and I somehow was able to get it in this league. I wasn't the one picking the picks. Awesome that Celestial was able to get that. Next, though, we go into our bulky water type, and that is going to be Slowbro. And I love me some Slowbro because it has so many good abilities. Or 2 really good abilities. One being Oblivious, so this allows my opponent from taunting it, which allows me to continue to go for Slack Off, which is so good to keep this Pokemon healthy. But then it also gets Regenerator, and you know me and Regenerator Pokemons, I absolutely love them, and I feel like I'm pretty good at using them, especially when they have reliable recovery on top of having the Regenerator. It just makes them so hard to take down, so Slowbro is going to be a monster for my opponents to take down. Obviously, Slowbro usually likes the leftovers, but don't be surprised if we bring some different items on Slowbro, such as maybe some offensive items, maybe some life orbs, some choice specs maybe, and then maybe expect maybe even a pinch berry or something like that. You never know what I might bring on Slowbro. Cobra Berry maybe as well, considering unfortunately Slowbro is a psychic type, and I would prefer that it wouldn't be a psychic type as well, considering that I like the coverage that it gets from also being a psychic type, but I dislike the weaknesses it acquires in Shadow Ball, knockoff, just some prevalent moves that I wish it wasn't weak to, but we definitely can deal with those, as you will see with the rest of our draft. But yeah, Slowbro is going to be really nice in supporting our other 2 team members. Slowbro gets a good amount, it gets some solid moves. excuse me, it gets like disable, it gets Calm Mind, so it could be a Calm Mind sweeper if I already got rid of my opponent's Ghost and Dark type. Just Calm Mind up and win the game from there, because Slowbro's a little too bulky on that physical end if my opponent only has physical attackers that can't hit Slowbro for super effective damage. And even if they can, if they only have knockoff and my item's already been knocked off, then they still might have a lot of trouble. But yeah, so disable, Calm Mind, we get Fire Blast, we get Focus Blast, we get Foul Play, Grass Knot, Ice Beam, obviously, Light Screen, and Reflect, so we can run dual screens on Slowbro, which I love running dual screens. Obviously Psychic, obviously Psy Shock. We get, we won't be going for Rascal. Obviously the Scald. We get Signal Beam and Shadow Ball, which is really nice for some of the Pokemon that might be trying to switch in on us. Get the really huge deal is getting Slack off. That makes Slowbro so nice to have that reliable recovery, such reliable recovery. Not too many Pokemon get that. Then we get Surf, Thunder Wave, Tri Attack, Trick, ends in Headbutt. Trick is going to be really funny, as I do expect myself to use that eventually on Slowbro and really throw my opponent off with what exactly I trick on them from my Slowbro. We get Amnesia, which raises the special defense by 2 stages, which can be nice if my opponent really isn't. My opponent only has physical attackers. Amnesia can just make Slowbro so hard to take out, and even if they do have a special attacker, that can make Slowbro's special defense just too hard to deal with, and I can maybe still just sweep my opponent with a Amnesia Calm Mindset. Something else to keep in mind, Belly Drum. So watch out, might run some Belly Drum Slowbro and just run through your team. We get Counter. That's pretty cool, considering if we get hit, if I know I'm gonna get hit hard on the physical end. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I don't see any other moves I can really see. Oh, and Trick Room, obviously. I'm not sure how much I'll use Trick Room. I kind of did later on prioritize getting a lot of faster Pokemon, but there's always the chance. So Trick Room something is always nice to have to your disposal. It even just works nice for Slowbro. If some faster Pokemon that threaten Slowbro very heavily, I know is going to switch in, I can Trick Room, and then I know that I can attack them before they attack me. So that's always pretty nice. So yep, there is Slowbro, and I'm excited to have Slowbro on the team. Obviously, it complements our other 2 picks well in Heatran and Garchomp. They both kind of dislike water types, so Slowbro can switch in all those water types anytime, any day. Obviously, it doesn't want to be toxic, so that's kind of an issue, but our next Pokemon will be able to help us with toxic, so that's nice. And Slowbro's it's such a bulky Pokemon. Very bulky on the physical end, which is nice for Heatran, who really hates fighting type moves. So the psychic typing does come into effect pretty nicely for Heatran, as Heatran hates those fighting types. Slowbro will take a fighting type attack any day. Doesn't want to be knocked off though, and a lot of fighting types do get knocked off, so that's unfortunate. But it will tank out a fighting type hit if it has to. And Slowbro also gets Slowbro. It's going to complement those other 2 extremely nicely. And I can't wait to see it. Oh, and last thing I did mention about Garchomp Heatran was that Garchomp's obviously weak to Dragon. Heatran doesn't mind taking a Dragon type Outrage or whatever for Garchomp if necessary. So yes, that's Slowbro. And yeah, I feel like that those 2, Heatran and Slowbro, that's an extremely nice start to a Fire, Water, Grass core. So let's keep going. And moving right along, we get into our next pick. And Slowbro was our tier B now, so now we're going to get our free tier B. And here I was thinking Fairy all the way, so we get right into Sylveon. And honestly, I shouldn't even revealed my nickname. You guys will see nicknames as the season goes along. I'm just going to talk about the Pokemon and try to make sure this video isn't too long. But anyways, we get into Sylveon with our 4th pick of the draft. We were the 6th pick, which is the middle of the draft, which isn't the best. Honestly, it kind of sucks being in the middle of the draft, but I felt like we did still draft a good team. And we were able to get a lot of things I wanted, and this is where I finally started drafting. Those first 3 picks were also SDL, so shouts to him picking such a solid first 3. And now we get into Sylveon, and I think I probably could have just snagged Florges or something like that. I guess I was just really anxious concerning that I missed out on a Wish Passer in the, I think, IPBL, which was a draft that I think was going on. I think it ended up finishing after ours. I think so. It might have finished before, but anyways, IPBL, I missed out on getting a Wish Passer in that one, so I was really anxious to make sure I got a Wish Passer, so that's why I just kind of just chose Sylveon and went with it. But I'm really excited to use Sylveon. I'm not a big fan of its design. But its shiny sprite isn't terrible, and I do think that Sylveon is a good Pokemon considering that it has a monstrous 110 special attack stat and a 130 special defense stat. So it can be a huge special defensive wall, and it can also just actually hit really hard for a Pokemon that's so bulky and also like a wall. So that's really nice to have coupled with each other. Sylveon can use a lot of items well, leftovers first and foremost, but also, excuse me, it can also use choice specs really well, like really well. Obviously, Pixelate was nerfed a little bit. It doesn't do as much, but it still is really good, and it can still hit like a truck with choice specs. It can still run a choice scarf and outspeed some things your opponent wouldn't expect and catch them off guard. It can run it can life orb if you want. Like, Sylveon can run some really nice items, and it can do a lot of damage to a team. I really like Sylveon's moveset though. Obviously, Hyper Voice with Pixelate is going to give you the most damage, but Sylveon also gets Baton Pass, which is going to be really nice, because my opponent is often going to think I'm just going to Wish and Protect with Sylveon, and Baton Pass is going to be extremely nice. The move that all the evolutions get, it's going to be really nice, and just Baton Passing out of there and getting into the a threat that threatens what I know is going to switch in on Sylveon, or threaten what, and I can just get into whatever, because Baton Pass is an actual move. So my opponent switches out, and then I Baton Pass, so that gives me the switch initiative in that scenario. So Baton Pass is going to be really nice on my Wish Passer. I really like that, and that was probably the main reason why I didn't wait for Florges and went with Sylveon, because I did want Baton Pass on my Wish Passer. I thought that sounded really nice, and I thought it'd work really well for our team. Sylveon, like I said, also gets Calm Mind, also gets Hill Bell. So this is our cleric. That's going to be a huge deal for Slowbro, with avoiding Slowbro from getting worn out by Toxic. So having that Hill Bell on Sylveon is something that I won't take for granted. I'm going to very much so appreciate having that. Obviously, Hyper Voice, Moonblast as well, in case I think my ability is going to get taken, or if I don't want to Ditto switch in and having my ability or whatever. Psyshock, Quick Attack if I really need priority, so that's where we get our first bit of priority right there with Sylveon with Quick Attack. And obviously Pixelate's going to actually make that a fairy type move as well, so that's going to do even a little bit more damage than it normally would do on a normal, a different type of, if Sylveon didn't have Pixelate, it'll do a little bit more damage. Shadow Ball, which is nice to have, especially for Pokemon like Gengar. I don't think anyone drafted Gengar, which kind of sucks, but it's nice to have. Reflect, we also get Reflect. I don't think we got Light Screen. No, we also get Light Screen. So this is another Pokemon that I can run dual screens on, which is really nice. And Sylveon also gets Wish, obviously. So really nice Pokemon that I can't wait to use. We got some other moves going for it, but I think that's the pretty much what we'll actually mainly be using. Yawn I might actually use, but I probably won't use any of the rest of these moves. But yeah, Sylveon's going to be extremely nice. It is so bulky, it gets nice moves, and 95 HP, that shouldn't be laughed at. That's a solid HP stat, and it's going to allow Sylveon to be a huge threat. That finishes out our Dragon Fairy Steel Core right there, and I think that is so strong in Garchomp, Heatran, and Sylveon. That is extremely strong. So I can't wait to actually use this. So let's move on to the next Pokemon, and this is going to be our first Tier B of the draft. As we got our Tier A, our free Tier A, our Tier B, and then our free Tier B. This is actually going to be our Tier C, not Tier B. Sorry about that. Our first Tier C, and that is going to be Crobat. And what I was thinking with Crobat was that now I have 2 hazard setters, but I have no way of removing hazards. So let's prioritize getting some type of hazard remover. The rapid spinners went, like the high tier rapid spinners went so fast. They all started going in a blink of an eye after once we got to the 5th pick. So I really wasn't much that I could really do there with that. And I felt like my hands were behind my back, so I had to get a defogger. But I'm actually really excited to use Crobat because I used this Pokemon in the tryouts for a league before, and it did nothing but the finest work for me. In the IPBL, I prioritize getting some type of bird spam. Bird spam pretty much just being some flying stab that's really strong that you can just spam on your opponent's team, because a lot of teams don't have a resist to flying other than Steel and Rock. And once the Steel type's gone, you can start just spamming it. So I wanted another form of bird spam, and that's what I get with Crobat, and it's extremely powerful Brave Bird, especially with a choice spam that's going to be chunking my opponent's team. So Crobat's a very versatile Pokemon, as it gets a lot of different items that it can use well. Like a lot of different items Crobat can use well. I won't even go over them all. Just know that Crobat can use a lot of different items well. Know that it's pretty bulky as well. Know that it gets Infiltrator, which may not be a huge deal, but it honestly could end up being a huge deal in the fact that Infiltrator ignores Substitute and it knows Reflect and Light Screen. So that's a pretty nice deal. And the fact that I could get something, I can knock something out that's behind a Substitute at low health and stop it from sweeping, especially with Crobat's monster speed stat, might still outspeed stuff. And then I can also what's it called? I can also bypass Reflect and Light Screen. So that's nice. Obviously, Crobat gets what we mentioned in Defog. It also, you could go Acrobatics if you're running some interesting item. Crobat's not my Z Pokemon or anything, so I don't know how much I'll be using Acrobatics, but it's an interesting option to have to our disposal. And maybe a secondary option of Brave Bird if I don't want that 33% recoil, because that recoil does rack up, but we should be fine with that considering that we do get reliable recovery and roost. Crobat also doesn't have, oh my god, I'm just not good at speaking today, but Crobat also doesn't have too bad of a special attack, so you can definitely run its special attacking wise and run stuff like Air Slash, Dark Pulse, Giga Drain, some nice options for Pokemon that you think might switch into Crobat. Haze, if I feel like I really need to stop something from sweeping my team. It's always nice to have Heat Wave for a lot of different Pokemon that still types. Heat Wave for those still types, I think they could switch in. With that Leech Life boost that it got this generation, definitely an interesting move that Crobat now actually has at its disposal, because I was never using Leech Life before that. Nasty Plot. I feel like I really want to become a special attacking threat and really throw my opponent off guard if they thought I was really going to be that really physical Crobat. So that's really nice and interesting. Pursuit, so I can even Pursuit trap some of these psychic types and stuff, which is going to be nice to have. Quick Attack as well on Crobat, some more priority, and this is actually priority on Crobat's best offensive stats, so that's real nice. What else do we got here? Obviously Roost, like I said, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Super Fang, which I plan on using a lot. Just being able to do half to any Pokemon that switches in is just an amazing thing to have, so that's going to be great. Tailwind is something I could see myself using maybe for a late sweep or just whatever. Could be nice. Taunt is extremely nice to have on Pokemon, especially one as fast as Crobat. U-turn, so I could get that really nice, very fast, speedy switch initiative on my opponent. And then we got X-Scissor and Zen Headbutt, so some other pretty nice moves. And then we get Cross Poison later down here. And I think that's the last move I really see myself using on this guy. But yeah, lots of nice options, and I'm excited for Crobat, considering that it's a Pokemon that gets overlooked sometimes, but Crobat is a beast. Crobat will tank a lot of hits for you. It will defog for you a lot, considering with that reliable recovery, it can really do it for you. And threatens a lot of different Pokemon, and its typing allows it to resist a lot of common hits from fairy types. Switching on Earthquake due to flying, having that flying typing. Like, Crobat's a very nice, underrated Pokemon, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun using it. And I really wanted a speedy Pokemon. That's what set me on Crobat the most at this point in the draft, is that I thought my team was decently fast, but 102 Garchomp wasn't the fastest at all, and then the rest were all slow. So my team actually wasn't decently fast. It was pretty slow at this point, so I actually really wanted to prioritize something that can remove rocks, something that was still versatile, as I feel like everything I drafted so far is decently versatile. Like Garchomp and Heatran are extremely versatile, as well as Crobat. But I wanted to keep that theme going, and then Crobat also just has a very nice typing, and just a lot going for it, and it's going to be able to tank a lot and just stick around and just be a very formidable member of the team, and it gives me that bird spam that I really wanted. So not bad. After that, we get our next tier C, because you got 2 tier Cs, and then your 1 free tier C, depending on how you did your free points. I did mine's pretty simply. I just went my free points are just 1 tier A, 1 tier 2, 1 tier C. I'm saying tier 2. Sorry, I'm confusing you guys. 1 tier A, 1 tier B, 1 tier C, 1 tier D, and 1 tier E. You could do it different ways and still hit 500, but I decided to do it that way, and that's how it worked out. Our next pick, though, is going to be our next tier C, and it's going to be Miltank. And the reason I chose Miltank was because with your tier picks, they needed to be like, it had to be those exact tier picks, so I needed another tier C. And the electric types have already had pretty much all been drafted in tier C that I wanted from tier C. So I couldn't really get an electric type other than one, but I knew I could wait on this one electric type. So I was just like, I'll wait on that one because I could still get a free tier C. So I'll wait on that, and because I know it'll likely still be around. And I was looking at the rest of tier C, and nothing really was fitting on my team really well, like almost nothing at all. So I'm still really happy about getting Miltank, but it was a little unfortunate that some other Pokemon that would have fit on my team a little bit better weren't available, especially because this makes our Miltank has 100 speed stat, but it's not really, it doesn't really use that speed stat in any way. It makes it so that it can dish out some hits on decently fast things before they think they'll get hit, but it really doesn't use its speed like to its disposal like crazy. So I really wouldn't consider Miltank that speedy of a Pokemon, considering that it's a wall and walls don't really try to be fast. However, though, Miltank is such a solid Pokemon that I'm definitely going to appreciate having it on my team. It gets leftovers. It likes using leftovers, and it likes using maybe a what the heck is that? What's the fighting type resist berry? I cannot think of its name. I can't think of its name, but it's a fighting type resist berry, all that stuff. It likes using that, and it uses it well. And Miltank is a fat Pokemon. This thing does not die, especially with thick fat to its disposal, which makes Fire and Ice type moves deal damage with a half attacking set. So they do half of what they normally do, which is so nice. As now those Fire type moves that, if I'm a little afraid that a Fire type might go for its Earthquake on Heatran, I can just switch in Miltank. And if it still goes for that Fire type move, it's going to do very little damage to Miltank, especially on that physical end if it's going for Flare Blitz, as Miltank is a defensive wall. Then Miltank also gets Scrappy, which allows it to hit those ghost types that do want to switch in, and then it also gets Sap Sipper, which is probably its best ability, honestly, considering that Slowbro will be threatened by grass types, and I don't have the best switch into some grass types, as a lot of them do carry Hidden Power Ice. But I guess Heatran's a pretty good switch in, but having a Miltank as well as a switch in, it's really nice to have these Pokemon with really good abilities. I feel like all of our Pokemon have really useful abilities so far. Garchomp with Rough Skin, Heatran with Flash Fire, Sylveon with Pixelate, Slowbro with Regenerator, Crobat with Infiltrator, and then Miltank with Thick Fat and Sap Sipper. So I'm excited about these abilities really coming into effect for our team. Then we can look at Miltank's moveset. It gets a plethora of moves. It gets Body Slam, which is probably its most common offensive move, especially with Body Slam having that 30% chance for para. That's something I definitely would enjoy, getting some paras on some stuff and just kind of feeling bad but feeling good at the same time about it. Miltank gives us a second Hill Builder for our team, so that's beautiful, as we could try our best to still avoid Miltank and Sylveon and Slowbro from all getting worn down by Toxic. And that's really nice for Sylveon, as it means that I don't have to run Hillbill on Sylveon every week that I want Hillbill. So that's really nice. Miltank gets Ice Punch, so that's something nice to have on some of those on like the Dragon types that try to switch into Miltank, especially like Rough Skin users like Garchomp, even though we have Garchomp, so that's pretty nice. Then it gets like Rock Slide. It gets Seismic Toss if I just want like decent damage, and I know I won't have a move to do too much damage, or I'm a really defensive wall Miltank, so I just want a move that still does good damage. It gets Seismic Toss, that allows it to still do damage even when it's not that offensive, which is really nice, especially on Pokemon that don't have reliable recovery. Another Stealth Rocker, so now we have 3 Stealth Rockers, which is extremely nice. It allows all these versatile Pokemon to be as versatile as they possibly can be. Then it gets some interesting stuff like Thunder Punch, Thunder Wave, Zen Headbutt if I really want to go for it. It gets Counter, which is once again nice to have as an option. And just another thing my opponent has to think about. It gets Reversal, it gets Punishment, and it just gets some very nice options. And I'm excited to have Miltank, Metronome. I'm excited to have Miltank on the team. It's going to do a lot of work for us, and we can look at those stats. That 105 defense stat, that 100 speed, and then that 95 HP allows Miltank to be a huge wall. And you probably all know how annoying Miltank can be because of Whitney. So there is Miltank. Get into our next Pokemon. We finally dabbled into tier D, because now I'm like, okay, I do not have a fighting type, and I tried actually to get a fighting type before I drafted Miltank, and it got taken. Wanted another fighting type before I drafted Miltank, it got taken. All the fighting types started to go at that 6th pick, which right before my 6th pick, which really sucked, honestly. I really like getting solid fighting types. I just really think fighting is such a solid typing in league format. And if you could get a fighting type that also has U-turn, then you did great. Infernape, Mind Chow, those are just beautiful fighting types, considering that they also get U-turn and they're really fast. However, I felt like we got a really solid fighting type still, and I felt like it fed on our team very, very well. And that is Virizion. And with Virizion, I pretty much this pretty much finishes off our Firewater Grass Core, which I really did want to finish off. But I didn't. I don't like a lot of grass types. I feel like Tangrowth, Virizion, and a few other things other than the high tier grass types like Superior and stuff. I feel like they're the only good ones. I feel like grass is a typing that gets bad very quickly in drafts, and I really didn't want to get a bad grass type. I probably would have got no grass type if I wouldn't have got like Virizion. So thankfully we finish off our Firewater Grass Core and we get that coveted fighting type that we definitely wanted to get in our draft. So I'm very excited about that. And for Virizion, what exactly Virizion brings to the table for us is obviously a very nice offensive typing with grass and fighting. A lot of things I want to switch in on one or the other. Don't want to switch it on both. And then Virizion just has a lot of good moves at disposal. Virizion can run so many items in Choice Scarf, Choice Band, Assault Vest. Choice Specs, if you feel really cheeky, it's another Pokemon that has a usable special attack stat, which is so nice to have so that these Pokemon just aren't too predictable. And then we have other stuff it can use like Life Orb, obviously Lumberry as well if it wants to run it. And Virizion is just so nice. And then this also gives me a justified user. So when my opponent thinks that they want to go for that knockoff on Slowbro, I'm switching into Virizion and I'm getting that +1 in attack. And I'm going to start wrecking house on a lot of your team. So watch out, knockoff users. Unless you want to pursue trap, watch out. And yeah, so Virizion gets Calm Mind. Like I said, it has a usable special defense stat and it has a monster special defense stat. As a usable special attack stat and a monster special defense stat. So Calm Mind is definitely something I could see myself using at a point. Close Combat obviously is its best stab option on that fighting end. And just to do so much damage to my opponents. Such stats get lowered, but at least it's not offensive stats getting lowered, so I can still stay in and still do just as much damage as I did the previous turn. It gets Energy Ball. It gets Focus Blast if I'm fully special. It gets, what else do we got here? We got Leaf Blade on the offensive end. We got another Pokemon with dual screens. So another Pokemon we can run screens, and like Clayon if I felt the need to really have it, but I didn't bring Sylveon or Slowbro. So another Pokemon with that to its disposal, which is so nice to have. 3 different Pokemon that can run dual screens. Sacred Sword if I didn't want close combat to lower my defenses, and Sacred Sword ignore stat changes, so that's an interesting move to have, and definitely a nice option to have on Virizion. Stone Edge for all those flying types that want to switch in on grass and fighting. So watch out, flying types. The stabs don't work on you; they won't do too much damage, but we do got Stone Edge. Swords Dance, super nice, especially on a pretty fast Pokemon like Virizion. Synthesis for reliable recovery. It is weather dependent, but that's still pretty reliable recovery. Taunt as well, which is nice. When I was drafting this, I completely forgot about Taunt. Another Pokemon with Taunt, which is extremely nice. So now we got, I think that's 3 Pokemon with Taunt, which is nice. We got Zen Headbutt, we got X Scissor, and yeah, that's pretty much all the moves I think I'll be using. I don't know how many of these other moves I'll be using. Not too many. So yeah, that's pretty much Virizion. So many nice moves. And yeah, Virizion's going to be an extremely nice addition to the team. It complements Slowbro extremely well, and being able to switch in on those knockoffs and those dark type moves coming Slowbro's way and getting a boost from it. So that's going to be extremely nice. And Virizion is just a solid Pokemon, and then we can look at its stats. Give those stats a look. And Virizion has a 91 HP, which is solid. 90 attack stat, which could be better, but it's solid. 90 special attack stat. So they're the same, so Virizion's definitely not a special attacker that should be overlooked. 129 in special defense still, that is monstrous, and then that 108 speed stats, so we're really starting to get some speed here, as we got a speedy Wall and 2 speedy Pokemon in Crobat and Virizion, so nice additions to the team. And then we go into our next pick, which at this point I was like, alright, I got my Defogger, but I still desperately want a Rapid Spinner. I'm a person who really enjoys having a Rapid Spinner on their team. I don't care how low into the draft. If you're a Rapid Spinner and you're not Cryogonal, I am not saying that right at all, but Cryogonal, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not saying that right at all. I can't really speak too well right now. Kind of a little parched, so that's probably why, and I should have got some water before doing this. However, Armaldo. Armaldo. That is our next pick. I really wanted a spinner, and that is what Armaldo brings to us. But Armaldo is a Pokemon that's often overlooked, and there's a lot going on for it. Unfortunately, we won't really be using Swift Slam that much. Opponent can expect it maybe once, but it's not something I envision using too much, as we don't have a rain setter. And I could go for Rain Dance and then try to sweep with the Sting, but it's kind of unlikely. But Armaldo has a monstrous attack stat, and it can run so many different items in Assault Vest, Choice Band, not really Choice Scarf, but Life Orb, Lumberry, Pinch Berries. There's a bunch of different items Armaldo can run, and then it does get Battle Armor, so at least I can prevent RNG on Armaldo with Battle Armor of not allowing it to be crits. So that's an interesting ability that's at least useful every week in and week out. Then Armaldo gets some nice moves. It gets Aqua Jet for priority, so more priority, and this is actually a little bit solid priority than just Quick Attack, even though Quick Attack on whatever it was, I think Crobat, that's not too bad. Then we get Earthquake, we get Brick Break, which isn't the best, but it's a decent fighting type move. We get, what else do we get here? Let's look at some of these other moves. We get Knockoff, which is our first Knockoff user, so that's another thing I really wanted from Armaldo, because I will reveal now, we did not get a Dark type in our draft, which does kind of suck. However, I didn't feel too bad about it, considering that once I really did, like, all the way into our 9th pick, I felt like we needed all of those Pokemon. They all offered a lot to the table. And at our 10th and 11th pick, sadly enough, there was no even halfway decent Dark types left. So I had to prioritize other things, and that's what happened. However, though, we do get our Rapid Spinner. There's Rapid Spin, so we got our Rapid Spinner here. We have Rock Blast on this thing. We have Rock Polish on this thing, so that could be interesting as a late game sweeper against a decently slower team that's a little worn down. We got Stealth Rocks again, so now we got our 4th Stealth Rocker. We got Stone Edge. Excuse me. We got Superpower if we feel the need to like really hit something hard with a physical fighting type move. We got Swords Dance for that sweeping set, and then we got X Scissor for a solid bug type stab move, and Cross Poison as well. Bug Bite if I think my opponent has a berry on something. Curse if I just want to be slow and try to sweep and just be really physical and not allow my opponent to do much damage. So Curse is a nice option to have on this too. I actually didn't realize it got that when I was drafting it, but always nice to see these moves, and that is why we do our draft analysis, to see some of these moves. So that's nice. Let's just quickly look at his stats. 125 attack stat. That is monstrous for a Pokemon that you can get all the way in the E tier. Because no, what's this E tier? Yeah, no, this was our D tier free pick. So a Pokemon you can get all the way in the D tier with a 125 attack stat. That is amazing. 100 defense stat, 75 HP, which is decent, which is decently good. And then 80 in special defense, which is decently good as well. So not bad at all. I am excited to use Armaldo. It's going to hit like a truck. It gets solid moves, and I'm excited to use it. And it really brings Rapid Spin to the table and Knockoff, which is two things I did not want to not have in my draft. So I'm excited that we will actually still have both of those. And next we finally get into that free C pick that I was just waiting on, because I knew it likely wasn't going to get drafted. When I was looking at everyone else's draft at this point, when we got to the 9th round, I was like, most of everyone already has their electric type, or they don't have enough points at this point now to draft a C tier. So I knew I could sit on Heliolisk all the way up until this point, and I was able to do that. And Heliolisk is a Pokemon that I already have used in the past, and I like its versatility. It gets so many nice offensive moves. It's actually kind of insane how many good offensive moves this Pokemon gets. And continuing our theme of good actual abilities, as I feel like Armaldo's probably the first Pokemon that doesn't have the best abilities for our team. Other than that, everything else has fantabulous abilities. We get a Pokemon with Dry Skin, and Dry Skin on an electric type is better than you would think, considering that it makes it not only immune to water type attacks, but it also heals you 1/4 when you're hit by a water type attack. So that is that's beautiful. Obviously, it doesn't want to take those fire type moves more when it's running Dry Skin, but it loves those water type moves, and that makes Heliolisk just so much more threatening when it can switch into a Scald from your Milotic, from your Suicune, and then just threaten an Oko on those Pokemon right afterwards. That is beautiful. Obviously, Helios can run Choice Specs, it can run Choice Scarf, it can run Assault Vest if you really think you need to take some special defensive hits a little bit better. It's terribly far on the defensive side, but it's not bad on the special defensive side. So that's good to know. We have a lot of decent special side Pokemon. So now the Miltank pick's looking a little nicer. Sadly though, this is where we finally double up on typings, as Heliolisk is a normal type and Miltank is a normal type. So you can see why I wasn't the absolute happiest about Miltank, considering I really hate doubling on typings. But Normal's probably one of the few typings that I'm not too bad about doubling up on, as Normal's only weak to fighting, and so that means that we just got to be a little bit more careful if we bring both of these to a game where my opponent has a pretty good fighting type, which is easy to do when I got a Slowbro and a Sylveon and a Crobat. So that shouldn't be an issue at all. So yeah, those lots of different items Helios can run should be solid. And then we get into its moves, and it gets moves like Agility if I really need to be a little bit faster to sweep my opponent's team with like a Life Orb Agility set. We get Dark Pulse, Dragon Tail if I want to switch around my opponent's team after I set up rocks. With Helios, I can do this. I can absolutely do this. We get Focus Blast, we get Grass Knot, we get Glare to even paralyze ground types if I feel the need. We get Hyper Voice for a very solid stab move from the normal end, so very nice. We get Light Screen on another Pokemon. That's so ridiculous. How many Pokemon are gonna have access to a screen? We get Low Kick if I felt the need. Well, no, that's not the best. Don't use Helios attack stat unless it's Dragon Tail. We get what else do we got here? We got Signal Beam. We got Surf, which is extremely nice to have on this Pokemon, as fire types have to beware as well. We get Thunderbolt. We get U-Turn on this, which is amazing to have U-Turn and Volt Switch on an fast, speedy electric type. That is amazing to have, because a lot of people will just try to switch in their ground type that's not like extremely weak to ice like Garchomp. They'll just try to switch in that every time on a electric type like Helios, knowing that it doesn't get Ice Beam or anything. However though, with U-Turn we'll still be able to get that switch initiative that we really want. Won't do as much as damage as Volt Switch, but it still gives us that switch initiative, which is the biggest deal, honestly. And yeah, that's pretty much what I see myself using with Helios. Just some really solid options, and I can't wait to use them. Maybe there's a slight chance that I'll run Rain Dance on Helios so that Armaldo can sweep and that Helios gets the benefit from having Rain up. But it's a little unlikely, but you never know what can happen, as this Pokemon is extremely versatile. And now we can look at its stats. 62 in HP, not the best at all, but it's serviceable. 109 in special attack, so that's solid. 94 in special defense, so that's pretty good as well. And then that 109 in speed, as our team is really starting to continue to get a little bit more speed, as we did get a little bit slower, a decently slow pick in our Armaldo, so I had to come back with a speedy Pokemon, and that's what we got in Helios. We knock out getting our speedy electric type, which is nice. And yeah, Helios is it's going to be very serviceable for our team. I have a lot of experience with Helios, so I'm excited to be able to use it again. Definitely excited to use it again. Then we get right on into Mr. Mime. And Mr. Mime, ooh, what is going on here? Alright, there we are. Mr. Mime, well, actually, I just messed that up. And I will come back to Mr. Mime, but now you guys know what the last pick was. But I still want to do this in order. And if we're going in order, then our next pick was actually our Ice type, and that is going to be Regice. And Regice is a Pokemon I'm excited to actually use, because I felt like I always overlooked this Pokemon, and there wasn't much in E tier at all. There really wasn't. Like I said, if I could have got a decent Dark type, I would have done that over either Regice or Mr. Mime, but that wasn't there for us. However, though, Regice actually is pretty good because it has a monstrous, an absolutely monstrous special defense stat. I know Ice isn't the best defensive stat. I'm very aware of this. It resists almost nothing other than Ice, and it gets hit hard by Fighting Rock, Fire. It gets hit hard by a lot of things, and it's just not a solid defensive typing. Fully aware of this. However, though, Ice is an amazing offensive typing. I definitely expect myself to use this Pokemon offensively, actually at points during the season. As I said at the start of this, that I plan on using my entire team this season. That's not something I usually get from my teams. So we got some interesting items that we can use on Regice. You can honestly use a lot of those items because it can be special offensive but then offensive as well. And what I really liked when I was looking at Regice was the fact that it has access to Bolt Beam as well as Rock Polish. you might be wondering what Bolt Beam is if you're unfamiliar with that. What Bolt Beam pretty much means is that it gets access to Ice Beam, but then also access to Thunderbolt. And that Bolt Beam is extremely hard to switch into because what resists Thunder, grass types are weak to Ice. Ground types usually weak to Ice. What resists Ice is weak to Thunder. Not 100%, but usually, obviously, fire resists ice and it's not weak to electric. But a lot of different stuff is weak to electric. Obviously, water types is weak to electric. So Bolt Beam is hard to switch into, and then we obviously still we have moves for we have Ancient Power for fire types. So we definitely still have something for fire types as well. This thing gets Flash Cannon. This thing gets Focus Blast. This thing gets it also gets Signal Beam. Also gets it actually gets a lot of moves. I can even go for Amnesia to be even more bulky on that special defense side. I can go for Explosion if I just want to explode on something's face and get a lot of damage off. It gets Auroraville, which is interesting. May go for some Hell in Auroraville shenanigans. Probably not. There's a chance. Another Pokemon with counter, and also gets Icy Wind, which is nice to slow things down a little bit. And yeah, this is a solid Pokemon that I can't wait to use. Get some nice options. Also gets Snore. Yeah, I think that was Snore. No, it wasn't Snore. What is that move called? What was that? Nope, it is Snore. That's Snore. Alright, that's not the move. I was thinking of Yawn. I thought I got Yawn for a second. But yeah, this Pokemon gets some nice options. And Regice, look at its special defense stat. That is a monster special defense stat. 200 in special defense. We're going to tank some hits. If that is a neutral hit, we can tank it when you have a 200 special defense stat. 100 attack stat, definitely don't laugh at that. 100 defense stat, so usable, but not the best. And then an 80 HP stat, which is good. And the only reason I say its defense stat is not the best because 100 on anything else would be nice. But just when you look at that typing, fire types and fighting types, almost always, a lot of the most threatening ones are physical attackers. So it's not going to want to take a lot of hits on that physical end. So it needs to be a lot more, even more bulky than 100 on that end. And one thing I did look over was I'm not sure I showed Rock Polish. Yeah, but yeah, there's Rock Polish. So yeah, also access to Rock Polish. This is going to be really nice on this. It's pretty slow, but after you Rock Polish up, you can outspeed some Pokemon and definitely become a pretty formidable threat. So there's that. And then now we'll get into the last pick of our IBL Season 2 draft for your Salazzin Salazzles. I cannot talk today. I really need some water. And that is Mr. Mime. And I realized with Mr. Mime, we doubled up on two typings. We doubled up on the Psychic of Slowbro, and we doubled up on the Fairy of Sylveon. However, though, Mr. Mime seemed like easily the best Pokemon that was left in the in Tier E, as Regice was our Tier E pick, and then Mr. Mime was our free Tier E pick. Easily seemed like the best Pokemon left, as Mr. Mime can be immune to sound-based moves. It sucks that also means Heal Bell, so we won't be able to Heal Bell Mr. Mime if we are using Soundproof, but it also gets Filters. Pokemon receives 3/4 damage from Super Effective's attack, so that's actually really nice to Filter, so we'll definitely be using Filter more often than not. But it's cool to also be immune to sound-based moves, so we can maybe switch in on some Hyper Voice Pokemon or some other type of sound-based move Pokemon. And it also gets Technician, so if we are using some of those 60 base power moves, a lot of different items you can run on Mr. Mime. And then Mr. Mime gets Baton Pass, so we can Calm Mind and then Baton Pass into one of our more threatening Pokemon, like Heliolisk, and it could like tank a hit and then just kind of sweep my opponent's team if they're like decently slow. Mr. Mime gets Encore. Mr. Mime gets Dazzling Gleam. Mr. Mime gets Energy Ball. Mr. Mime gets Fake Out if we really need that priority and just want to like kind of mess with my opponent's team a little bit. It gets Focus Blast. It gets Foul Play. It gets Grass Knot. It gets Dual Screen. So another Pokemon with dual screens. It gets Nasty Plot, so then I can Nasty Plot and then Baton Pass, and that's actually really nice, as that can do a lot of damage to my opponent's team if I Nasty Plot and then Baton Pass into like Sylveon, or if I Nasty Plot and then Baton Pass into Heliolisk as well. We don't have the fastest like sweeping special attackers, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but we can make that happen. I see us making that happen. Get Psychic and Psyshock, of course. We get Shadow Ball. We get Signal Beam again. Another taunt user. And Mr. Mime's not slow, so this is a solid taunt user. We get Thunderbolt, get Thunder Wave. We get Trick, so that is nice. I can run a Choice Scarf Mr. Mime and then Trick right onto one of my opponent's walls, which is going to be extremely nice. And then we get Counter again on this Pokemon. We get Future Sight if I feel like running that. I think we get Trick Room with Mr. Mime. We get Hypnosis. We get Icy Wind. We get what else do we got here? We got so many good options with Mr. Mime, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to use this Pokemon. This is going to probably be the funnest Pokemon to use this season. We get so many, yes, and we do get Trick Room. So yeah, Mr. Mime is going to be so much fun to use this season, and I can't wait. I definitely cannot wait to use it. Because let's look at those stats. And obviously, its HP is sad. That is a sad HP. That's a sad attack stat. When we're not using its attack stat, and that's a decently sad defense stat. But that 100 attack stat, very, very, very usable. 100 special defense stat, that's great. It really does help supplement that horrendous HP stat. And then the 90 in speed definitely makes it usable. So Mr. Mime, definitely plan on using it, and it should be able to do a decent amount of work for us. But thank you guys. That is our entire draft, though. So our team does consist of Heatran, Garchomp, Slowbro, Sylveon, Crobat, Miltank, Virizion, Armaldo, Heliolisk, Mr. Mime, and Regice. Fortunately, we didn't get a Dark type. Unfortunately, there's definitely flaws in the draft. It's far from the best draft. Since I did just kind of have to start like scrambling stuff together after some different picks were drafted than I would have initially took. But I felt like we ended up still with a very solid draft, and I felt like it really like turned. We hit a turning point in our draft. I feel like when I got Virizion, that's when it was like, all right, now this team is really shaping out to look pretty solid. And then we just kept knocking off some pretty nice picks from there. I can't wait to use this team. Still a little salty about the fact that I can't use double items, so no leftovers on Sylveon and Slowbro, which is going to be extremely annoying this entire season of trying to debate on should I even bring these two since I can't bring leftovers on one or the other. But it's what you got to deal with when you're not the commissioner of a league, but that's fine. But we'll figure it out. We got lots of nice options. We did double up on some typings, which is not something I usually do, but I feel like the ones we got that doubled up on typings were Pokemon that are actually going to be really serviceable still for our team, so it shouldn't be a big deal at all. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Thank you for tuning into this IBL Season 2 draft. For your Salazzin Salazzles and your Coach Token. Let's win ourselves another championship here. I'm excited. We got a solid team. Might make some trades. I highly doubt it. I like what we got. And we'll see how week 1 goes. It should be pretty fun. Should be doing the battle this weekend and should be up relatively soon. So be on the lookout for that. I got another draft analysis coming for you guys with the IPBL. So be on the lookout for that. For now, though, that's it. Peace.